we need excellent nurses within acute care, without a doubt. But we need nurses that are working in so many other contexts and spaces because, as I mentioned, nursing is about improving health
Right.
of individuals, communities, and families.
Right.
It's not just about the delivery of health care.
Right. Right.
So, when you recognize that, we have nurses that go back to become attorneys. We have entrepreneurship where they're building their own businesses and branding, leading within the AI and health tech space. We have nurses that are in politics, right? Creating policy as legislators. We leverage our insight, our skills, our education, our practice in so many different
Right.
ways.
Welcome to Let's Get Real, a candid conversation about leadership, impact, and what it means to show up authentically. Today, we have our very first guest in this series, Dr. Roberta Waite, who is the Dean of Georgetown Nursing, one of my mentors, somebody I stalk on LinkedIn and social as well. And so I am super excited to have her join us on Let's Get Real today. So, Dr. Roberta Waite, let's get real. What's one thing about your world that people in your position don't say out loud?
That's a big question. I really don't know. I think it depends on the individual, and I can only really speak for myself. Maybe some of the things they may not say out loud or some of the challenging things they may hold internally and may struggle with. For me, particularly at this stage of my life, I've evolved so much. I do what's going to support me, what's going to promote my well being, and what truly is aligned with my values in the work, my purpose.
Right.
So it probably is really individual. But for me, again, at this stage and journey of sort of my career
Right.
and my personal life, I show up and this is who I am.
Mm. I'm just gonna say this. I can't wait till I get there because I think when you think about what people don't say out loud, a lot of times they're so concerned about what that's gonna mean, what other people are gonna think. And so I spend a lot of time in my head about what I should and shouldn't say. So I hear you with experience. You're saying you start to be think about like how does this align with what I need, what my values, and then the wellness piece is really important as well.
I do. I think that's important. And I think, I've evolved over time. So I would say earlier in my leadership career,
Mhm.
one of the things that can be and is a real struggle is representation, right? That is really important because sometimes you could have self doubt. You might hold things in internally. And I could say I absolutely had some of that earlier in my career.
Mhm.
And then over time, I'm not going to hold baggage that's not mine.
Right, right,
Right.
right.
And so you start to evolve in sort of how you manage,
Mm.
how you want to move, how
Right.
you want to lead to
Mm.
accomplish your goals
Yes.
in ways that's aligned with your values, in ways that bring you joy,
Yes.
in ways that you want to have impact,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so you let go of that other stuff to really, I would say, move towards your North Star
Okay.
and what you need to do. And
Got
you
it.
find sort of the team members that support you,
Mm.
the mentors that support you. And honestly, I have mentors who don't even know they mentor me, and I
Mm.
have mentors that I really identify as historical mentors and individuals that I have been in contact with who have moved me and really supported me in different ways.
Right.
So I think it really changes over time and how you might approach some of those things from a leadership perspective
Understood.
because leadership is an ongoing
Yes, it
process.
is. It
It
is.
truly is an ongoing process.
Okay.
And I think you really have to move with clarity and move with purpose.
Understood. Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Dropping those wisdom pieces. Okay. So the road to deanship isn't straight. What part of the journey, what is the part of the journey that people don't see on the resume?
I think it actually aligns with somewhat some of the things that I just mentioned.
Mm.
But I want to start off by saying the road to deanship isn't straight, but the road to, I think, so many leadership roles are not
Right.
straight,
Right.
right?
Right.
There's so many different sort of maneuvers and things and circles. There
Mhm.
are things that I probably would have done differently. But then when I reflect on it, I'm like, I really wouldn't have changed because those things have created my knowledge and experience
Exactly.
for where I am now to do what I want to do.
Right.
So I don't know about sort of the change piece, but you learn with each experience that
Right.
you have.
Right.
I learn a lot from mistakes. I learn a lot from people who I've been around, from patients to community to students, from colleagues,
Right,
right?
right.
It is a learning process. And I think life teaches you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And I love what you said about that it's never straight
Mm-mm.
because I always say this, everyone's journey is their journey, right? And my next step is not the same as someone else's next step.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes we get in our head, this is the only way we can get to X, or this is the only way we can get to Y. And there's so many different ways to get there. And so I really appreciate that because I think people, as they're stepping into nursing or stepping into like starting their masters, they think this is the only way to get to
Mhm.
this end goal. And there's so many different, my master's is in nursing education, it's not in administration. But
Mhm.
I use that every day in terms of how I think about executing things. So, um, to your point, you pull the stuff that you learn and it helps you move forward. So,
And I think that's so important. The reason why I say that is because I didn't set out to become a dean.
mm,
Right, so when you say sort of the path to
right,
deanship,
right.
you could say the path to leadership, and I think part of that, is really being able to step into those doors of opportunity,
Mm,
and it means showing up.
right,
So
right.
for me, I really did love, administration,
Mhm,
and so that's
mhm,
been a long time from clinically,
mhm,
and then as I moved into, education. And the role that I'm in right now, as I mentioned, I didn't seek it because the previous 2 roles that I had before becoming dean
mhm,
in a leadership capacity were created for me.
mm,
We co-created those roles.
right.
So when I was at that stage in my career where I was looking for something else, I didn't have necessarily a deanship in mind.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
was looking to have a greater impact on the nursing profession,
right.
something that energized me. And I really clearly said I didn't want to move until I moved someplace else that was more aligned with my values. So it
Mm,
happened to be this deanship.
right,
And that's one of the things that I say is important is you want to have mentors and you want to have friends
right.
that you engage with because it was a friend that brought this to my attention,
Mm,
right?
right.
Because when you're in leadership roles, you get a lot of sort of mails, you get a lot of consultants reaching out to you. And I had a good colleague who knew me and she said, Roberta, did you see this call for this deanship? And I was like, I did see it, but I didn't get a chance to read it. She was like, you need to apply.
Mm,
I read it. It sounds just like you.
wow.
Right?
That's
So
powerful.
that is really sort of that crack of that door opening for me to look at this, take
Right.
it seriously, and then to move in that direction.
Love it.
So it's, you have to be open
Mhm,
to
mhm,
opportunity, but you also want to share with individuals, when you might be open
yeah,
to a move, right?
understood. Yeah.
I think that's so important because your network is powerful.
It is. Your story is powerful though. I think because there's so many little nuggets with that and within that, even or like to your point, you weren't even looking for it, So just being open and available and, being willing to say yes, I think is a big piece too. I think a lot of times in our mind, this is what we want to be. But sometimes, it's funny because every position I've had either has been created for me or I wasn't looking forward
Mhm.
and it has crafted my career. And when I'm like, "I want that," is I feel like sometimes God or the universe is saying, "Maybe not now," or "Maybe is
Mhm.
that really for you?" So, being open, I really love that. Being open to opportunity
Yes.
and possibility. Yeah. No.
I think being open to opportunity and I think exposing yourself and
Mm,
showing up.
mm,
So
showing up.
sometimes when things might come your way and you're like, oh, I don't have time or I don't want to do it.
Right.
Sometimes you want to step in there because honestly, those opportunities really can afford things that are much bigger
Mm,
in so many different ways.
yeah.
So I think that is so important is showing up
Showing up.
and then being open to opportunity.
Okay.
Even though you might be a little bit fearful, a little
Right.
bit reluctant, but really explore it.
Okay. Love it. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. This is a question because I think as you go to these levels, what does it take to lead as a dean?
Well, I would say knowing yourself is really important
Mhm,
because as a dean, you're really, I think, knowing yourself, having clarity,
mm,
having purpose, and leading with your values.
mm.
I think those things are so, so important. And knowing yourself, because you need to know how you're engaging those things of that might trigger you, how you might
Mhm.
respond.
Mhm.
Because as a dean, you're modeling. As a leader, you're modeling, right? And
Right.
nobody is perfect. We're all learning. We all have our biases.
Right.
We all have areas that we want to continue to grow and develop. So that's why I think that is so important.
Mhm.
And I joke all the time and I say, my psych skills have really helped me in a leadership position because you really are understanding
Yeah.
systems, right?
Mhm.
It's managing and developing people.
Mhm.
And so that my those skills, that background
Mhm.
that I had from a clinical perspective,
Mhm. Mhm.
they're so transferable
I agree.
when you're working within other structures and working with other groups
Right.
to help you understand sort of the social, the emotional competence,
Absolutely.
developing individuals, understanding challenges
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
how people will respond to different things and how to best support them
Yeah.
to help them in their growth, to
Love
help
that.
them in their development.
Love that. I will say Psych 101 was the class that I feel like that therapeutic communication comes
Yeah.
in all the time in terms of when you're dealing with people and family and
Yes.
friends. So that
Yes.
definitely comes in. As the dean of Georgetown University Berkeley School of Nursing, take us back to the beginning.
I can't pinpoint a beginning because I would say within my ecosystem, within my life in growing up,
Mm,
caring, community, and service
mhm,
have always been so pivotal.
mhm, mhm,
My father was a community dentist. I say community
mhm,
dentist because he was a dentist that served in the West Philadelphia area.
mhm,
My mother also was a registered nurse, and I
mhm,
always say she was a VA nurse
mhm,
because she loved her veterans. But that was always so central within our household.
mhm,
And we have a lot of individuals within my family within the healthcare
mhm,
sort of field. So I gravitated there. I grew up working in my father's dental office. So
mhm.
I knew health was a place that was really
Right,
central and I wanted to have an impact. Now, I didn't know specifically nursing
right.
earlier in my career because I thought about nutrition, I thought about pharmacy. For the longest time, I thought about becoming a veterinarian because I love pets.
What's your favorite pet?
Oh, I love dogs. I'm a
Dogs.
dog lover. Oh, I'm a fur baby mom at 3. At
Really?
3.
Oh,
But, I really then gravitated towards nursing, not just because of my mother, but we have so many people in my family,
mhm,
and I said, "There's almost no area you can't work as a nurse." Right? Because I knew earlier on you were not limited
right.
to working necessarily only within a healthcare or health, hospital context, but it was really about impacting health,
Mhm, mhm,
supporting community,
mhm.
and I said, "In nursing, you can do that."
Right.
And you didn't have the limitation.
Yeah.
So that really is what moved me within that in that area, and I've never regretted it. Nursing
Mhm.
is the best profession ever.
I'm just
Best
saying,
profession
I
ever.
so agree.
And we have to treat it as
I
such.
agree. I
And
agree.
we have to inform others about our profession.
Yeah,
To me, that's our job. That's our duty.
I agree.
And too much is left open for people to figure out on themselves or for them to think about what nursing is about by looking at a TV show.
Agree.
That does not tell you about
Yeah.
nursing.
Yeah. I agree. And I think there's a lot more we have to do, to your point, to help people understand what we do. I think outside of nursing and even within. So when you think
Yeah.
about these organizations, it's amazing how many people don't understand our practice.
Mhm.
I just was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and I said it's up to us
Yeah.
for people to share with people what it is we do and how it's done, so that they can help support
Yeah.
or so that they can remove barriers, whatever that is. But people need to understand that it's more than, to your point, what you see on TV. The critical thinking that's involved, the amount of preparation that's involved, the this, then this, then this. I just think how we think is just so unique. And I'm not biased at all, but I am. I think nurses are probably the most intelligent people out there because of our training, education wise, and what we have to do in our spaces, and then that translates to so many things. So yeah.
I absolutely think sort of the opportunities for nursing,
Mhm,
what we and even how I would say we engage and prepare our students,
mhm,
we have to approach that in a different way
mm,
because we need excellent nurses within acute care,
mhm,
without a
mhm,
doubt.
mhm,
But we need nurses that are working in so many other contexts and
mhm,
spaces
mhm.
because, as I mentioned, nursing is about improving health
Right,
of individuals, communities, and families.
right,
It's not just about the delivery of healthcare.
right, Right.
So when you recognize that, we have nurses that go back to become attorneys. We have entrepreneurship
Mhm.
where they're building their own businesses and branding,
Mhm.
leading within the AI and health tech space.
Mhm.
We have nurses that are in politics,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Creating policy as
Mhm.
legislators. We leverage our insight, our skills, our education, our practice in so many different
Right.
ways,
Right.
right? And we could have touch points in so many different areas. And we have to expose our students and
Mhm.
prepare our students to think differently outside of just preparing them to go work within a
Mhm.
hospital.
That's a really good point. So
Right, that
because
is
yeah.
one important place,
Yes,
but
yes.
that is not the only place where nurses should have an impact.
Absolutely.
And we need to start that thinking and those expectations and that understanding and the innovation
Mhm.
and the
Mhm.
entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
and really also looking at nursing from a broader lens, not just a deficit, because so often I also find that we're teaching from a deficit medical model
Mhm.
perspective, right? And we talk about it, but we really need to look at nursing across the realm from prevention,
Mhm.
promoting health,
Mhm.
to also treatment and caring for individuals who may have acute and chronic health
Right.
conditions. And there's so much emphasis, and it's that way because of how our systems
Right.
are structured from a monetary and financial return on investment
Mhm.
from that perspective.
Mhm.
But we really need to be working and becoming and utilizing our nursing knowledge and skills to actually promote health and not just to focus on a sick care system,
Mm.
because that's where the emphasis of our focus is.
Okay, I'm going off script a little bit. So, do you feel it's that way because of reimbursement? Do you feel it's that way because of compensation? Because I think that a lot of times the focus is where money is, right? So,
Mhm.
is that has a big piece to, and so then how do we transition to where we need to be in terms of placing the nurses where they need to be, getting the education they need to in order to support those spaces? How do we transition to that?
I do agree. I do think the emphasis on is where the finances sit.
Mhm.
So, because we're in a capitalistic
Right.
society, and I would say a capitalistic society without guardrails,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I think that is the impetus of a huge component. So it's not just in how we prepare our students, but it's actually how we engage as nurse citizens. And so if we're about promoting social justice, if we're about promoting, humanity, promoting health,
Mhm.
our work also leans into not just our professional, but how we also align the work that we're doing from a political and a
Mhm.
policy standpoint
Mhm.
to really support that.
Okay.
So it's a broader issue beyond just the nursing profession, but we need to leverage our power and skills in that space because we know that we need to invest more in those resources that promote health in that way,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That's really important.
Okay. We are short about 263,000 nurses and turning away about 80,000 people who want to join the profession. Can you share with us what you think and walk us through why that's happening? And what do you think we can do to help support getting more nurses in the field?
It's not the lack of talent or the lack of interest, I don't think. I think so many people wanna become, nurses. I think it really is multifaceted from the opportunities of being able to get the number of students within nursing programs
Mhm.
because of I would say, the faculty shortage as
Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
to supporting individuals financially
Mm.
to pursue nursing.
Mhm.
Nursing programs, nursing education is quite costly,
Mhm.
and so you're limiting sort of a pathway
Mhm.
for many individuals. And even what's happening right now, what we're being confronted with right now with the Grant Plus loans
Mhm.
and the challenges of limiting the $100,000 lifetime use for
Mhm.
education for
Mhm.
our nurses, it's going to have huge implications. So for those individuals who have the resources and financial ability to pay,
Mhm.
it's not going to impact them.
Okay.
It will impact individuals who have a limited capacity from a financial
Right.
standpoint and those who have so much to contribute.
Mhm.
So you have individuals who are
Mhm.
really privileged who can,
Mhm.
but nursing needs a wide swath of individuals. We have a lot of talent. We have individuals who can contribute in immense ways, but they may not have the financial resources
Mhm.
to be able to do that.
Mhm.
I mean, so that really is a more succinct, but it really is multifaceted
Right,
in so
right.
many ways.
Understood.
Even from a clinical placement standpoint, we have so many students who want to come in, but then we're also limited in how we're preparing them or how we can access
Right.
from a clinical education experiential stance. So
Right.
it is it's very intricate, it's multifaceted. It's not that it can't be modified
Right.
or we can't change
Right.
things,
Right.
but it will take a different coordinated level, if you will.
Understood, understood. I think there's so many things within our profession that we have to revamp in terms of where we
Yes.
are right now. And to your point around opportunities and space and financial, I have 3 people that older women that are very interested in nursing. I've talked to the last 3 days, and the finance piece comes up every time in terms of trying to find a way to make it happen for them for their future. So
I mean, really think about it. If you're working, let's just say, for example, within a health system, I know there are a lot of maybe LPNs
mhm,
or nursing assistants who really want to continue on
right.
to become registered nurses or advanced
Mhm,
practice nurses or
mhm,
other nurse anesthetists,
mhm.
but they're not able to because of financial
Right,
reasons, right?
right.
Because many health systems, they're not financing or they're not contributing enough.
Mhm.
And people have to work while
Right,
they're in school,
right,
right?
right.
So it really is challenging because people have to support their families.
Yeah.
So unless there are ways from a financial standpoint to really support that,
Mhm.
it's going to be really challenging. We don't have the federal government
Yeah.
that's supporting nursing in the same ways as it does graduate medical education,
Right,
right?
right.
And so we don't have the same type of financial supports right now. I'm not
Mhm,
saying that it couldn't be,
mhm,
but we don't have those same type of financial supports right now from the clinical
mhm.
support,
Right,
but also that financial support as
right,
well,
right.
which is really, really important.
Yeah, I agree. So this is a trick question. Who gets to become a nurse? Who gets to lead? Where does the system break?
Well, I think part of our conversation earlier really frames that. And so, who gets to become a nurse are those who have access, that can come in. So, it is going to limit individuals
Mhm,
who I think are more challenged financially. But I
mhm,
also want to harken back to even earlier.
mhm,
We really need to prepare our students to get into nursing programs.
mhm,
So,
mhm,
rigorous elementary, middle,
mhm,
high school
mhm,
education.
mhm,
So, how our tax dollars flow
mhm,
and that are invested within our schools and early education preparation really forms that foundation of
mhm.
students who are able to access because you have to get in with certain
Right.
GPAs, with certain strong foundational knowledge within
Mhm.
the sciences.
Yeah.
And so those who are taking AP courses and having strong and rigorous science backgrounds from
Mhm,
their earlier schooling, they're going to be really it's gonna heighten their opportunities, let's just say that, to get in. Those, financially who are able to get the support to get in, it's gonna
mhm.
heighten that capability of getting
Understood.
in as well.
Yeah.
So, our whole social structural
Mhm,
dynamic
mhm,
strongly influences who gets to get in.
mhm,
And then from a leadership perspective, just like everything else, those opportunities,
mhm,
who's within your network.
mhm, mhm.
Sometimes it's really limited based on the school that you go to,
Right.
right? There are unspoken things or preferences, I guess you
Mhm,
could say, that individuals might have to get into certain leadership roles
mhm,
or within certain spaces or certain organizations,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
So there is the social structural dynamics really influence
mhm,
who gets to get in and then maybe how they're propelled or how they're able to move
mhm.
and moving through
Right.
um the nursing, I want to say nursing ladder, but
Right.
different positions
Understood.
that individuals might be interested in seeking.
Yeah.
So it's not saying it can happen, it
Right,
could make
right.
it more challenging,
Understood. Yeah.
but it influences, how people are able to move.
I don't think I thought about it like that. That's a really good point in terms of I mean, I know it, but I don't think I really thought about the like even so a couple of things. Social structure, how it impacts individuals' advancement, who opportunities, etc. And then also how it impacts us and our profession, how we work, all of that. Thank you.
Really think about it also regarding representation that I
Right.
said earlier
Right.
and sort of the social dynamics or the social networks, right?
Yeah.
Is sort of exclusive. So
Right.
as you continue to move up, and even outside of nursing, really,
Mhm.
who's in the
Mhm.
boardrooms? Who's
Mhm.
leading? Who's making the decisions? You
Mhm.
typically don't have the diversity of individuals who are there. So it's who you know, sort of that's it within your network. And earlier in my career, we used to call it the good old girls network,
Right.
right? Because still nursing is predominantly you have women
Mhm.
who are within the profession. So sometimes you could see that those individuals as gatekeepers
Mhm. Mhm.
and making decisions or who is moved in or who is allowed in.
Right.
It may not be spoken about explicitly in that way, but the decision making and what you see,
Mm.
it often plays out in that way.
Understood. Yes. Yep. So, for the leader watching this right now, what do you want them to do differently tomorrow?
So, for a person who is already a leader, I would say, are you executing and living according to your values and your goals? So often we can get socialized and conditioned to engaging and reacting sort of like within our normalized systems and structures. And to me, the status quo is a problem because
Mm.
that means we're not moving to accelerate and to improve our society, our world, and the humanity of everyone. So we don't want to become comfortable in the status quo. We should always be striving to be better, to do better, and to enhance all to be the best that they can be.
Mm. That's me dropping the mic. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go into off the charts. A few questions are going to pop out. And so the first one is best advice you ever ignored.
I don't know that I can't think of a specific thing that I've ignored. I would say that any advice that I've taken or any advice that I've received, I tried to be open to it.
Mm.
But I can't think of the best advice that I've ignored per se.
Okay.
I can't think of anything.
Okay. All right. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Yes,
One thing nurses need to know.
they have power.
Mm. Mm.
Don't let anyone discount the power that you have.
Okay. The leader who changed everything.
Christ.
Ooh. If nursing had a theme song, what would it be?
There's no stopping us now.
All right, the last one. What is your go-to treat?
Oh my goodness. I am going to say chocolate. I love chocolate.
Mm.
But, that's a hard question because, I have a sweet tooth, so I like a lot of sweet things,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna say
chocolate,
chocolate.
dark or milk.
I love milk, dark's better for you,
Okay.
but I love milk.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm starting to like white chocolate too. White chocolate too. Dr. Roberta Waite, thank you so much for joining us on Let's Get Real Candid Conversations. I so appreciate you, appreciate your leadership. I am blessed to have you in my spaces. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm telling you, I am energized by everything that you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.